Most people walk into the gym with no real plan. They lift a little, do some cardio, maybe follow a program for a few months. The scale moves, they look a little better in the mirror, and that feels like progress. But here's the quieter truth almost nobody wants to face. Very few people are training with any long term strategy at all. Most are either winging it or running a program of the month. There's no specific intent aimed at the decade still ahead of them. I've watched what happens when that catches up with people. I've trained men in their early to mid 50s who told me the same thing in a matter of words. I just want to be able to get down on the floor and play with my grandkids. These are good guys. They're not lazy, but 50 arrived and exposed the truth. The years of inconsistent or non existent training left them carrying extra weight, limited work capacity, and a body that no longer cooperates the way they assumed it always would. Some are now on GLP-1 medications trying to claw back ground that would have been far easier to protect 10 or 15 years earlier. My lifelong best friend is the same age as me. He's never really exercised a day in his adult life. And today, he's dealing with a cascade of serious health issues that make every year feel like borrowed time. He wasn't prepared for 15 at this point. He's just fighting to reach age 65 in any kind of functional shape. Age 50 has a way of revealing who's been preparing and who's been coasting. It's like the old saying about the tide going out. You suddenly see who's been swimming naked. So the real question isn't, are you working out? It's, are you training for the life you still want to have when 50 hits and then 65, 75, 85 and beyond? That's the difference between working out and training for life. Dr. Peter Attia made popular a powerful idea called the Centenarian Decathlon. It's a personal list of the top physical tasks you want to still be able to perform comfortably in your marginal decade, which is the last 10 years of your life. Things like get up off the floor with minimal support after playing with your grandkids or great grandkids, driving to and from the grocery store and carrying your own groceries, lifting a suitcase into an overhead bin, and traveling independently, including driving yourself to the airport and then walking to your gate rather than having to ride one of the little scooter things, hiking a hilly trail, climbing several flights of stairs without feeling absolutely wrecked, swimming 500 meters without stopping, standing on one leg with absolute confidence, maybe with your eyes closed, playing 9 holes of golf with a pull cart, no powered golf carts allowed. And then for my best buddy Phil, it's standing in a boat for hours fly fishing in northern Arkansas. The beauty of this approach is that it makes training personal and meaningful. You're no longer chasing random PRs or a six-pack that disappears in a matter of months. You're building the exact capacities required for the life you say you want to keep living. And here's the part that most people miss. The same training that prepares you for 80 and 85, it also protects you from getting blindsided at 50. The muscle, the aerobic engine, the balance, the movement quality, those qualities don't suddenly become relevant at 75. They start mattering the moment you stop building them. After age 30, if you're not doing regular strength training, at least 2 solid full body sessions a week, 30 to 60 minutes, you lose about 5 pounds of muscle every decade. From 30 to 50, that's already a meaningful chunk. From 30 to 80, it's a landslide. Your muscles are the engines that move you, stabilize you, protect your joints, and keep your metabolism alive. Lose them, and everything starts falling apart. There's no substitute for aggressive resistance training. Walking, yoga, and Pilates are great, and they have their place, but they do not replace the need for strength work. The good news applies equally whether you're 32 or 62. The sooner you start training with purpose, the longer the runway you have. You can't change the past, but today is still the best day to begin writing a different future. Most people train forward from today. They set short-term goals and hope it all works out later. This is a short-sighted approach limited by whatever time, money, or energy you happen to have in the present moment. For many, it leads to massive underachievement, especially if you're waiting around for inspiration. Good luck with that. Backcasting flips the script. You first define the physical capabilities you want at 80 or 85, and then you work backward to determine what strength, mobility, stability, power, and cardiovascular fitness you need to build today and then in the decades in between. Think of it like a glider being towed into the sky by a powered plane. The higher the tow plane pulls the glider before releasing it, the longer and smoother and further the glide path back to Earth. Your body works the same way. The more absolute strength, muscle mass, and aerobic capacity you build while you can, the longer and more independent your latter years become. Climb high, baby. Climb high. A 35-year-old who starts backcasting today has an incredibly long runway. A fit 55 or 6-year-old still has a tremendous opportunity. The body responds remarkably well to purposeful training at any age. The key is clarity instead of guessing. You can't train effectively for something that you haven't measured. That's why we use a focused training for life assessment. It gives you a clear baseline across the qualities that actually matter for long-term function. Active metabolic assessment, which gives your VO2 max, arguably the strongest predictor of how well and how long you'll live. Mobility screens, including the overhead squat and then targeted checks for ankles, hips, thoracic spine, and shoulders, single leg balance and stability, strength and functional power across the fundamental patterns like squat, hinge, push, pull, carry, rotate, grip strength. It's one of the simplest and yet most powerful predictors of your overall potential for independence. These assessments matter whether you're 28 or 68, and the sooner you know where the gaps are, the more precisely you can go about closing them. Motivation is a trap. You already do hard things every day that you don't particularly feel like doing, but because of discipline, commitment, and responsibility, you do them anyway. Apply that same executive logic to your training, and you will outlast almost everyone still waiting to feel inspired, and you will crush every goal that you pursue. Consistency when you're healthy compounds powerfully and protects when life inevitably interrupts with injury, illness, and surgery. After 10 to 14 days of complete inactivity, you'll start to lose muscle strength and aerobic capacity. After 75, regaining what's lost becomes nearly impossible. People who stay consistent through the interruptions are the ones who still have options later on. So ask yourself honestly, are you just working out or are you training for life? If you want to stop guessing and start building with purpose, reach out via Work with Kelly in the description below. My team will run the assessments, identify the gaps that matter most for your age and goals, and then we'll build a plan that protects both the next decade and the ones after that. Your future self at 50, 60, 85 and beyond is counting on the decisions you make now. Climb high, and as always, best of luck in your journey.